Hey guys, here we go. We're back to fine Santal Absolut. I keep it as a treasured member of my den in a special Old Spice vintage mug. It fits in there perfectly. We're going to be using the Nacet. 343 is today's use count at the end of the shave. And I'm going to be using my Oumo Manchuria Finest SHD knot, and I believe it's a 24 millimeter. The write-up on the video will tell you for sure. And this is my Wolf Whiskers handle. It's a short little guy, but he is easy to hold on to because of this kind of saddle that you see right there. My fingers do get messy with it, and I don't like that too much, but it's a cool handle that reminds me of something cool a while back in 2019, and I put a nice knot in it because of that. It's been soaking for a while, and that's just fine. I'm going to be using this fine Accoutrements. I'm sorry, Fatip. Fine is the soap. Fatip is they're both F words, I guess. Fatip is the maker of the razor, and this is the Piccolo handle. You can see my head is a little bit weird, right? Look at that. Well, that's because I wanted to make a point to tell you guys about storing your razor this way. It's an option if you have to put your razor away wet, because as you can see, you have plenty of airflow on the inside part. And indeed, if you've shopped eBay for vintage razors, you'll definitely see some of the old techs, things like that, where the base plate is put on upside down like that. And of course, the second part of this is in addition to informing you that you can do that, is don't shave with it like that. There are definitely people who have done that in the past because they're new and they don't know any better. Turn that base plate over where it fits just like that, and then you're fine. Now, while we've got everything disassembled, let's go ahead and take my Nacet blade that I've been using this long and put it in there. And then we check the alignment. Perfect. Nice. Okay. Here's my card. 40 groups of 4 groups of 10, and then a 2. So we'll tack on another dot at the end of this shave. Looks like as a post shave, I'll be using Declaration Grooming Tribute. It's, I think, is it peach and pineapple, with some other kind of dirty notes in there, like I think patchouli and vetiver, just to give it kind of an earthy but non-dirty quality. Is I believe their attempt, and I really enjoyed it. The pineapple is definitely the strongest note, and so don't get it if you don't like pineapple. And but I just kind of enjoyed it on my face, and I think my kids are probably going to like it better than something dark and spicy and that sort of thing. So I will put that on today. 24 hours since my previous shave, so we should be at a good point there. I just took a shower, and so my face is all clean and hydrated. Okay, and it doesn't take very much loading on this puck to get plenty of lather for 4 or 5 passes. So let's take it down to 15 seconds of loading this time. I think I used 20 the last time I used it, and let's take it down to 15. This knot holds a lot of water, and I just shook out a lot of it, and there's still a little bit to go. So let's do 15. Oh, 10 rolled around right there, so we'll go to 25 on the clock there. This mug may be the right shape for the puck, but it is a little confining for some brushes. I usually don't find it to be too much of a problem. So there we go. That's what 15 seconds of loading looks like. And I've got my 3D printed lather bowl. You can grab the plans in the description of the video if you want, and find an online place to print them if you don't have a printer, if you're interested. And so we got the blade loaded up. Let me get my face wet again, and then we can start mixing up that lather. All right. So let's see if 15 seconds of loading is going to be as much lather as I think. I'm pretty sure it is. So one of my friends, Buzz, is we've become friends over the comments and things like that, and he's a big fan of the fine soaps like I am. They're hard soaps. They work really well. They give you a slick lather that's creamy, protects well. They're inexpensive. They have top quality scents that I particularly enjoy. I've got most of them, and I like most of them, which is not something that I share in common with most other companies. So obviously the style of the CEO, his preferences must be similar to mine, right? Anyway, Buzz was kind of laughing at me on one of my previous uses of this very soap, and how he was mentioning how his tendency is similar to mine, where I come into the shave and I say I'm going to load for 20 seconds because I'm sure that is just going to be plenty of soap. And then when you're loading, you think, well, just in case, let me load for 5 seconds more. And then we end up with 7 passes of lather, and we just kind of do that every time, right? So it's kind of funny. We know that we can load for less, but often we choose not to. And he was right on in spotting that I do that as well. Big bloom with this relatively small knot. I've got it sunk down not very far into the handle, maybe just 2 or 3 millimeters. And another kind viewer chimed in and reminded me that when I first started using this knot, it felt maybe a little too floppy. And so my initial impression was that I would sink the knot down a little further, take one of the washers out that I have in there. He reminded me about that, and then all of a sudden I realized, I think this is the 10th shave with this brush. For a few shaves now, I have not even thought about that as an issue. So what that means is somehow the knot is kind of expanded to fill the space a little bit. It's expanded to I don't feel that same kind of laggy feeling like I got in the very beginning. Maybe as the bristles have, when they come to you, they're kind of straight, and then as you work the brush, they start to relax a little bit, sometimes kink up just a little bit, and so that's going to change the feel of the knot. And so I'm really glad that he reminded me about that, because I haven't noticed anything like that with this brush. And so that's a lesson for me to, if maybe a brush is a little bit too laggy, a little bit too almost not really floppy, but kind of floppy. I feel like maybe I need to tighten it up just a little bit. You can put some O-rings, at the bottom of the knot if you want, but also just use it a few more times and see if it keeps that feeling. All right, well, looks like we are good to go. And my face just feels really, sorry about the view there. I should have used my the other side to fix that. Let me come over here. I got to make sure the camera doesn't pop out of my mount. I need to get a magnet or something to help me out with that. My face feels very hydrated, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on without doing my usual splash of water on the face before I put on my lather. Wonderful soft tips. This is definitely a contender for, if I had to pick a knot as my only brush, this might be the one. I might change the handle, have it be a little bit more ergonomic, keep my fingers a little cleaner. This is a sandalwood scent that does have a little bit of strength to it. And so I can see if I use this constantly, I could maybe see how I might want to change to something else. But maybe not. Add a little bit of water to it. Maybe I should have pre-wet my face like I usually do. Can roll some of that side lather off. Hey, in my previous video, I mentioned that if you're working your lather and you get a lot of, if you're working it, you've already done it in the bowl. So in theory, the lather's already mixed up. The water and the soap have mixed up to make a lather. And then you start working it on your face and you get an exponential amount of lather coming out the side of your brush. I mentioned that that means your lather could use some more water. And I got to thinking about that, and that is not correct. And I'm going to put out a little kind of side video explaining that, because I think that's an interesting concept and one that could benefit people that may not want to necessarily, walk through, watch the whole shave. Look at all this lather I'm getting on the side of the, kind of on the borders, on my goatee, on my neck. Means I definitely could have added more water. I'm glad I added some to the brush just now. Oh, and this is creamy, good stuff. So slick. If you look at that, and even that right there, it needs a little bit more water to it right there. If you're working your brush into your face and you get lather coming out the sides like crazy, then what has probably happened is in your brush, you've got some water and some soap concentrate that had not yet joined up and turned into lather. And so in a way, you kind of had an incomplete, build in your bowl. Now, that's basically what face latherers do every time. They come to their face with water in the brush and with their soap. And then they work it on their face. And then as that process happens, the water and the soap all combine and make a lather. But when you do it in a bowl, if you are a person who likes to do it all in the bowl first, then you've kind of missed the mark in terms of doing it all. But now that's okay. I mean, maybe that's what you want to do. But I wanted to correct myself. If you do get a lot coming out the side of the brush, it means that you had some water and soap in there that had not yet turned into lather. And so your face actions of working it like this, they worked that water and soap together, and then the lather didn't have anywhere else to go, and so it has to come out the side of the brush. And so that is what that's a sign of, is you maybe need to work your lather a little bit more in the bowl if you want, to do that. Or you, perhaps when you were working in the bowl, you didn't agitate the brush as much as you should have to integrate the water that's in the brush in the knot there into the rest of the lather. If you just kind of used the tips and didn't press very much, then I could see how the water might stay up in the high part of the brush and not get integrated. And maybe you want that, maybe you don't. I'm just saying this might be what's happening. I've definitely had cases where I pushed on my face and all of a sudden water came out, and it was water that I just didn't know the brush was holding. Another solution to that issue, don't soak the brush all the way up to the handle like I do. You could soak it just a little bit less, maybe have a little bit less water in your brush when you start your lather mixing process. So I wanted to clear that up since oh man, that lather looks great. It is slick. What a good setup. And I'm about to put this last half in there, and that's 4 teaspoons, but I'm gonna add more because I think it needs more. So we put in another half, so I just added 1 basically to it. So this is 4.5 teaspoons of water total in the lather. And to help my skin benefit from this lather, I'm going to let what's on my face sit there for just a minute while I integrate this water into the lather, and that will help the soap to kind of help to protect my skin, make it slick, bond with it, you know, that sort of thing, to be able to protect it against the blade that is forthcoming. Instead of the lather just sitting on your skin, my goal is to kind of have it mix in with those top layers to some degree, and then it just helps to protect it. All right. 343. And with 24 hours worth of growth, it's a reasonably comfortable shave. A tiny bit of tugging on this first pass. And the first pass will not have as much stubble removed as it would if I had a fresh blade. But that's okay, because by the time we get finished with 3 passes, the second and third pass will make up the difference easily. This is my trouble spot, so I do like to kind of hit it twice. Oh, the slickness and creaminess of this soap is just tremendous. And when you can find the pucks only, there's probably still a few of them out there. It's just like $12.50 a piece. It's terrific. All right, let's rinse and get that water out of the goatee. For people like me who like really wet lathers, we're pushing the envelope with the hydration already. I don't need several extra drops coming in and washing my lather out. You can tell this is not as creamy as my first pass, but it's just as slick, maybe even slicker. And we can definitely get some of the creaminess by getting that side lather. Moving it around, kind of rotating the suds from the side of the brush to the center. Oh, such a great brush. Soft, but still enough backbone to keep the tips at your face instead of just kind of laying over on the side. All right. And my black and gold razor, you know, black and gold is the way it came with this base plate being gold, but I like the looks of this silver a lot better, silver color. And so I traded the base plate out with a normal Piccolo that I have from Fatip. Very comfy shave. And let's use the goatee lather as another pass here. There we go. All right, let's put on that last pass. And I don't think it's unreasonable to do a 4-pass shave. My guidelines for using this blade are it needs to give me a reasonably close shave. You know, that's close enough for most guys' jobs to, you know, not get yelled at. And it needs to give me a reasonably comfortable shave with, you know, a small amount of tugging, no big deal. A larger amount of tugging I'll tolerate if it's been like a 1.5 day, or not a 1.5 day, but like a 2-day shave, 2-day gap there, because that's kind of normal. And I might tolerate a harsher feel if I plan to then change razors and try it in another razor, that sort of thing. And that's happened before. And, you know, back when it was 100 uses, I would switch razors, find one that was, you know, worked a little differently, had a different geometry, maybe more aggressive, usually more aggressive. And then as long as I keep finding a razor to work with it, then it's going to keep going. Very slick, very comfortable. And now we'll do this section here at a different angle. You have trouble spots, you gotta do your best to try different angles. Remember what you've tried in the past. Not only different angles like coming from this way or whatever, but also you can try slanting your razor a little bit to have more of a slicing motion. There is a J-hooking method that Geo Fatboy on YouTube has a couple of videos about, where you're kind of doing a quick motion like this. And it takes some practice to do that properly, because you can definitely cut yourself trying to execute that, because if you slide the razor like this way instead of around in a circle, forward, or you need to do that arc. If you twist it too quickly, then you're moving the blade laterally across your face. I've tried it a few times and I haven't found it to be necessary for me, and so I have not practiced that technique to any normal extent. And so let's just do another pass right here. And see, look at this weird way I'm gripping the razor. It doesn't matter too much, as long as, see, look, it's loose. It's light. I'm keeping it light on my skin, and so it's not pressing in and going to mess anything up. Very relaxed grip in that type of situation, and that's good. Keep down irritation and razor burn. All right, I am going to rinse and check out the results. We'll be back. The bar of soap that I used in the shower prior to the shave is Sterling Haverford, and it is Tom Ford, what is it? Tobacco and vanilla, kind of scent. There's a Tom Ford scent. It's that. And it's patterned after that, and I really enjoy it as a bar of soap. I like it as a shave soap as well. It might be a little too heavy for me to wear as a cologne or that kind of product necessarily. A balm would probably be okay because those don't last too long. Okay for me, I bet my kids wouldn't like it. But I really enjoy it as a bath soap. I got sent that as a sample by Sterling with one of my orders, and so I've enjoyed trying it out, and I really like it as a bath soap. But what's happening is I've got that on me as a bath soap, and I'm using this fine Santal Absolut sandalwood with some musk and stuff, and they are combining really nicely. The kind of the tobacco and almost like a chocolate or vanilla type scent combined with the sandalwood with maybe some powder and musk. I don't know what they have in here other than the sandalwood, but that's a really nice combo. Makes me think to, if I had, I could mix. I could take some, take my quarter teaspoon and do half of that with the Haverford and half of it with the, no, Sterling doesn't really have a competitor with this. I don't know. I don't know how I would mix the two. I'm sure I could figure out some way, but I bet they'd be a really good mix together. Well, we do have plenty of soaps with sandalwood and tobacco mixed in together. Usually the sandalwood's much more muted than this type of sandalwood is. And I don't even care. This can't be a real sandalwood oil because that's really expensive. But I don't care. It just smells good. I don't care if it's synthetic. Don't care at all. Nice close shave. Happy with that. See a few tips on a few hairs, but no big deal at all, especially for a blade that's gone this far. Oh yeah, let's hit that splash. And this does not have menthol, which I am a happy camper about. So let's see how the pineapple pairs with these other macho things going on. The tobacco and the sandalwood and all that. A little bit of peach in here as well. I like that. Haven't decided if I'm going to keep it or not, but my initial impression is I like it. He did say he wanted it to be sweet and fruity, but not cloyingly sweet. I think he's achieved that, but that might be the only thing to me that says, hey, you might not want to use this soap anymore. You know, it just kind of maybe a little too sweet for you. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, there we go. I'm going to clean up stuff. It looks like the 4.5 is the water that I used to match up. And 15 seconds. I even did an extra pass on my neck. Looks pretty much perfect. I might get away with 10, but 15 seconds, I've got probably 2 passes. I could probably make 2 passes of lather out of this. I think I could. So I probably could go a little bit less than 15 with this brush, but you know, really nice. Economical use, because soap is cheap after all. Even if I have to buy the $16 plastic container with this hard puck in it, and then take that puck out and put it in my Old Spice mug if I wanted to do that, still, I'm in the middle of usage testing with this soap. And so I'm sure I'm going to find out that I'm going to, you know, get a ton of uses out of this puck, like I have with Sterling and Chiseled Face, Martin de Condre. Wonderful, wonderful lather. One of these days I'm going to break down and try a hot lather. But just slick. It's a very light slickness at this point because I've watered it down quite a bit. So my hands, you know, aren't feeling a ton of creaminess. It is giving me a little bit of cushion in terms of resisting compression. It's a very light, oily, soapy kind of slickness at this point, but and so I wouldn't want to hydrate it any more than this, but it works very well. The rinses felt really good as you know, in my hands and all that. So it was a good tactile experience as well as a scent and performance type of experience. And as always, with really dense brushes like this with lots of hairs, make really sure that you get in there with the water, rinse it extra long, and I sling it out. And then if I have some suds in there, often the suds will sling out to the tips and will change color, and so I'll know I got some more cleaning to do, some more rinsing to do. But give it extra long time to get all that soap out of there. You don't want the alkali or chemical nature of the soap to eat away at your hairs down there in the knot, in the center of the knot there. And I'm going to towel strop it, and that gives us this nice look here. Towel strop it just to clean, just to get that water out of there, the kind of the excess water. It's still damp, obviously. I love how these tips are not gelling, and so I get the feel of these nice, thin, soft tips. And I know that they're not going to change in 10 years because they haven't been treated by as heavy of a bleaching type agent. So big fan. Good smells. Just a hint of the soap on there. I had to rinse out. I got this Sterling Haverford puck out of the shower there, put it in my little soap caddy, and you can kind of hear the water still draining from the thing. Maybe make sure I need to turn it off. Nah, it was off. I guess it's just the excess from the little wand thing we have draining down through the bottom. Anyway, the Haverford is a dark colored soap, very dark, and so it can stain your bath and stuff. So I had to rinse even after picking it up from the shower and putting it in my caddy. That left some dark imprint on the linoleum or, you know, whatever plasticky fiberglass thing the showers are made of. And so I had to turn on the shower head and rinse it all down. So be careful of that. All right. Just a happy shave today, and that pineapple scent not bothering me at all. Just a few minutes after putting it on, the addition of the vetiver and patchouli, I think, if I'm correct in remembering that those two are there, it does a great job of grounding the scent, making it more interesting, not just something fruity. I think it's a good one to keep around. That pineapple burst is something you do get right away, but it is a top note that fades after a bit. Okay, I figured out what I could do if I wanted to mix those two scents. I could take my lather bowl, use a small scoop, scoop out maybe, take my quarter teaspoon scoop out about half of that, maybe a little bit less, from a sterling Haverford puck that I have. Press that into the bottom of the lather bowl like a sample. Then take the brush, which hasn't touched that yet, and get my mug here with the Santal Absolut and load that for, I don't know, 10 seconds, not as long as I normally might, and 8 seconds or something like that. And then take that to the bowl, and now you're combining the two scents. I could do that. Pretty cool. I'm sure that would work. I know it would give me a nice lather because both soap bases are tremendous and slick and creamy and wonderful. All right, I think we're done. Smelling good. And I hope there's been something in this video that is going to help you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care, guys.